$166 billion the government spends on food for military, for correctional facility, for schools, for everything. When you look at the fat bill, do you know how much that could change the food system if we said, based on these set of nutritional principles, which are, I think, well accepted in the nutritional science community of being what is food, if we just followed that and didn't pay for all the junk food and the ultra-processed food, we just took that out, it would change the food system in America, because all the industry would change. If you take $166 billion out of the food economy and say we're only buying healthy food from farmers that produce healthy food, it's going to change everything from field to fork. These are simple things that the government can do that's easy. And
because they control it. So people I know, I've known a lot of people go to prison, more now than ever, and they get fat in prison, a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, I assume that's because the food is fat.
Of course. I mean, in prisons, they did another study I mentioned about the juvenile detention centers. They swapped out prisoners' food for healthy food, and they found there was a 56% reduction in violent crime in the prisons and an 80% reduction if they added a multivitamin. So there's so much nutritional deficiencies. In countries like Japan, they put people on a super healthy diet in prison and all their violent behavior goes down. It's pretty amazing.
Really?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, their diet's totally different. They put on like a macrobiotic, like very kind of like healthy diet that gets them completely reset. And we know the mental health crisis also.
Why don't we do that since it's a captive population?
We should. We can. I mean, the problem is this is a very. I don't want to sound conspiratorial, but I'm telling you, there is a very loose organization of industries that are working together to keep the system status quo. They don't want changes in our agricultural subsidies. They don't want changes in farming practices. They don't want changes in how we fund SNAP. They don't want changes in how we reimburse healthcare. They don't want changes in our food labeling. They don't want changes in ingredients that are in our food. This is stuff that's so entrenched that it's essential for their profits and their success.
But I mean, prisons, if you think about it, have been used as, because it is captive, the population of a prison, they've been used as testing populations for syphilis and vaccines and LSD and all kinds of horrible shit. Yeah. And you feel so sorry for the men who had to endure that. Yeah. Why not use prisons?
I'm not sure the LSD was bad for them, but
Whitey Bulger was at Alcatraz. Whitey Bulger, the head of the Winter Hill gang in Boston, a mass murderer, and he got dosed really hard with LSD at Alcatraz in the early '60s, and wound up effectively a serial killer, and his brother didn't, and wound up the most powerful politician in Massachusetts.
That's incredible.
So I'm just saying,
maybe flip them.
But anyway, here's the point: why not use prisons as a kind of federal prisons as a national test for the outcome of the diet you're suggesting?
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, there were studies that were done in mental institutions years ago, but there's ethics, and so informed consent. Yeah,
not feeding people Oreos is unethical. Like what?
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, Tucker. I mean, the ethical considerations are really around informed consent in medicine.
We gave them syphilis.
You can't.
It's okay to take the Oreos away.
Now there's rules about this.
No, but I'm just saying, like.
But we could get informed consent. We could ask
pay them 15 cents an hour to work. That's mean, they're prisoners. They can't vote. They can't own firearms. They can't see their wives. Like, everything about it is horrible. Why wouldn't you use the opportunity to improve their health?
I 100% agree. And I think we need to do that at every sector of society where the government has a hand. School lunches, the military, all our federal food programs. These are easy interventions, but the food industry blocks it by huge lobbying efforts in Washington.
The best Christmas presents are the ones that you would give yourself. Well, this Christmas, we're recommending a gift that we do give ourselves. Meat from Merriweather Farms in Wyoming. So about 6 months ago, we'd interviewed a bunch of different health specialists, doctors, and nutritionists about food in the United States. And the consensus is it's not very good, particularly the meat. So we decided, let's search across the country and find a source of good, clean, tasty meat. Not all of it tastes very good, the clean stuff, by the way. So after trial and error, we settled on our all-time favorite, Merriweather Farms, and we really settled on it. So every time we have dinner with a guest before the show, which is often, we serve the exact same thing, steaks from Merriweather Farms. And every single time they've been excellent. Every guest has loved them. We eat them at home and at work. So we can recommend this with total heartfelt sincerity. And this year, Merriweather Farms makes it very easy for you to send their meat as a gift. They got all kinds of gift boxes. Their famous steaks, including Wagyu beef, roasts, burgers, hot dogs, beef stick snacks, everything you could possibly want, you can send to your loved ones from Merriweather Farms. The address, merriweatherfarms.com/Tucker. Use the promo code Tucker Christmas for a discount this year. We eat it. We recommend it. Merriweather. It's MERIWETHER farms.com/Tucker. Promo code Tucker Christmas at checkout. Highly, sincerely recommended.
You know, in my nonprofit Food Fix campaign, which is really about educating and advocating for policy change to really improve the health of Americans, we met with over 150 senators and congressmen, both sides of the aisle, and everybody seems to get this issue, and they're not hearing about it, and they're starting to hear about it because people like me are talking about it. But I'm just one guy of a little nonprofit. I'm not funded by industry. I don't have any conflicts of interest, and I'm just trying to,
What are the big lobbies? Everyone says the big food lobby. What companies is that?
I mean, you've got the American Beverage Association. You've got all the the pharmaceutical lobby groups. You've got all the ag lobby groups. I mean, collectively, they're the biggest group of lobbyists in Washington, exceeding all the other lobbying, and they're very powerful, and they control a lot of what happens in Washington. I detailed a lot of this in my book Food Fix, where congressmen are funded by Coca-Cola or these big companies, and they fund both sides. They fund everybody.
Of course they do.
And so they've got a lot of it locked up, and they're miseducating. It's the misinformation and miseducation of our policymakers and government officials, because they're only hearing one side of the story. They come in with their briefing books, with their scientific papers, with their justification, with the regulations written, with the legislation written, and they literally give it to them. I've been in congressmen and senators' offices. This is amazing, Mark. Could you write the legislation for me? I'm like, what? I don't know how to do that. I mean, I have people on my team who probably do that, but it's like, it was sort of a startling kind of revelation that people in Congress need help, and they need guidance, they need direction,
and they're overwhelmed,
and they're overwhelmed, and they're good people, and they want to do the right thing, and they're not hearing the other side of the story. And so when you lay it out for them, they're like, I was with Senator Boozman from Arkansas. He's a great guy. And he's like, yeah, I'm seeing the changes in my rural community. I'm seeing what's happening on the farms. I'm seeing the degradation of these, and I'm seeing the processed food. I'm seeing what it affects my population, and he gets it. And he wouldn't let me out of his office for 45 minutes. Usually get like a senator pops in, hi, 5 minutes, they're in and out. But it was an incredible conversation. I've seen this with Randy Fenstra, who's really interested in regenerative agriculture. I've seen this, on the Democratic side with people like Cory Booker and Richard Neal and James McGovern, who are trying to advocate for food policies. So Roger Marshall and Cassidy, both doctors, fully in on this stuff. So there's so many allies in Congress on both sides of the aisle that are sort of sick and tired of how this thing is going and realize we can't continue to do what we're doing. And I think, Tucker, we have a historic opportunity with Trump and Bobby Kennedy. And Dr. Oz now is the head of the CMS, and other people. I think hopefully Casey Means will be Surgeon General.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think we can have a shift in the thinking and educate America, just like we did with smoking, and we can win.
It's just so funny that whatever, life is irony, everything is irony, but the Big Mac president is ushering in. It's just crazy. Oh no, I'm saying of all people,
but it makes sense, right?
It's incredible.
Johnson was one of the biggest bigots. He signed the Civil Rights Act.
That's fair.
Reagan was the most staunch anti-communist. He's the one who ended the Cold War. So there's a historical.
No, that's very deep. What you're saying is deep. No, that is the way life is. Right. Actually, it's the opposite of what you expect.
Yeah.
And I've talked to Trump about it, and he means it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.